This is gonna be my first session with Flicka. I think she's a quarter cross. I'm not sure. She was my friend's horse, and I was just kind of training her for a little bit. So this video is gonna be how I would mix positive and negative reinforcement if that's something you want to do. So I just asked her to move out, and you can see from her reaction to the pressure, she didn't get real scared from it. If your horse is running around away from the stick, they're probably not a great candidate for using negative reinforcement, or you've used too much, like too high of a pressure. So if you have a more dull to pressure horse, a little bit more lazy, laid back horse, then I would, if you want to, you could try with that. I just wouldn't recommend it for something that's a lot more flighty, a lot more hot and nervous. So I just want her to get away from me here, and she's trotted off. Um, and since she comes right back, because I had asked her to move and then gave her a treat. So you can see that the treat really creates a lot of draw here, but then the rest of the pressure she doesn't know. She hasn't been round pen before. She really hasn't had anything done with her very much. She like she'll go in the horse trailer, and then she'll get her feet done and be groomed and things like that. But other than that, she hasn't had any really formal training. So she's pretty confused. She just doesn't really understand what I want. She's thinking, oh, how can she get the food? I'm just going to try and be clear with her that going forward around me is how you're going to get the food. So she went forward a step, and I'll click and feed her. So there's going to be a lot more spaced out rewards. I'm going to ask gently to go, and then I'll start tapping on her. She doesn't quite understand. She's just standing there. But see how the pressure's not really worrying her? She's just trying to figure it out. And I want to be right there. As soon as she goes forward, I'm going to let go. There we go. Perfect. Oh, I could have clicked that too because that was quite good. And she wants to kind of spiral back in. I'm just going to say, no, I want you to keep walking. There she goes. Could have clicked that too. There. I should have clicked that right there because that's really nice. This, I should have clicked this. This looks good. Yeah, I would definitely use less pressure and more clicking because she understood it. Once she got unstuck from just standing next to me, I should have clicked and rewarded that for that movement. Ask her to go the other way. Same procedure. I'm just going to raise my stick up and then just tap a little bit. That looks pretty good. I should have clicked here. Any point during this time. This is all really, really, really nice. What I do like if I'm going to mix is the treats create a really nice draw. Should have clicked all of this because she's got it right here. I'm just asking for too much. But they do create a lot of draw, which is really nice and really a whole lot easier than just regular negative reinforcement, where you're constantly drawing with your body language and stepping back. The treats kind of do that for you. I still do step back and stuff, but it's more as a cue and I don't have to continually do it, so it does help a bit. So I'm just gonna give her a minute. She's gonna have like a little rest break while she chews, so she's kind of getting a mixture of reinforcement where she can stand and take a rest, and she can also get that food and eat it. So her sending off looks better right there. I like her head position. I like how she's stepping under with her hind legs like that. That looks really good. See, she's still a little confused, not a big deal. Like that. I should have clicked those few steps there. Should click here. This looks good. Click any of this. That looks really nice. This is what I want. This is I clicked that. That was really good. That's what I want. I don't care if she's out on the edge of the round pen. That doesn't matter to me. It doesn't have to be she's at the edge and she's far away from me to do it because this is like your liberty stuff right here. So I'm fine with, as long as she's not crowding me, I'm fine with her position like right here. This looks really good. So she's a little annoyed when I ask her to go forward and she's pinning her ears. So you do have to be careful about that though, especially when you're using the negative reinforcement, the horses can be annoyed by that. And I just kept tapping with my stick until she moved forward, and then she brought her ears forward, and then I let go. So just something to be careful about with that. I mean, you have to be careful with it with positive reinforcement as well, but it's a little different as how you handle it because you don't want to stop the pressure while they're pinning the ears because that's going to be a release for them. Just telling them they're doing the right thing, so you don't want that. So, again, just kind of taking notice of how she looks in the face. So my ideal training is I use probably, I'd say like 80% positive reinforcement. It's not completely, there's going to be some negative in there and it's not a big deal. But here I'm probably using more negative reinforcement than anything. And I just feel like the horses have a bit better attitude about it when I use the positive reinforcement as well. And you can kind of see this with Flicka in this video. And I'm probably not being as clear as I could have been as well. So that is important too. But just kind of keep an eye on her body language and her ears. She draws really nice again, but I'm trying to ask her to do an inside turn here, and she wants to just come in and get a treat, so she doesn't quite understand what it is that I want her to do. There, that was pretty good. Clicked her for that because she was walking away from me nice and softly. And then I'll send her back out again. There, she's taking a step there. That sending out looks really good. I should have clicked and fed that. That looks really nice. And then she's kind of losing focus, wants to maybe pick on the grass that's on the ground, and then see her ears here. So I got her attention off the grass. She thought, oh, I'd like to come in and get a treat. And I asked her to go forward. You can see her head toss here. She didn't appreciate the pressure there. And I probably should have been, again, a little bit more clear. As soon as she got into the trot and her ears were forward, I should have clicked and rewarded that. So I'm asking her to go into the trot, see her face here, her head next up. When she got into it, I did click her because I'm trying to say, okay, the forward movement is what I want. So I'm just going to fast forward through this part here where she just kind of hangs out for a second. But they are important. It's just, I'm not doing anything. So I'm just going to fast forward through that. But make sure your horses have those breaks where they're standing. If you're using positive reinforcement, the horse needs to stand and have enough time to chew their food all the way before you continue to ask them to do something else. Then they're not going to have all their food in their mouth. They are less likely to choke, and they have those time where they can come back from the training. They're not in that seeking mode all the time. They can come back, relax, and then go back into it. And then if you're using positive or negative reinforcement, that's going to be considered their reward. It's not necessarily rewarding, but that's the relief of the negative reinforcement. So that's also super important. If they don't have that, they can get to where they're very annoyed, angry, or just done with the session because they're not getting a release. And that's what they're working for with a negative reinforcement. So again, there she wanted to come in, and I was like, no, I didn't ask you to come in. She doesn't quite understand that going forward gets her reward. She thinks she can just kind of run into me and get the reward because that's where she's been fed. She'll figure it out. It's not a big deal. You just got to be nice and consistent. I could have been more consistent with clicking and rewarding her for going forward. It's the forward movement that I want. So just be really specific with that with your horse. And then again, we're just going to let her eat here. And we'll send her back off. Good. Yeah, I could have clicked and rewarded that. That looks good. I would click this too because I like that. I think she's getting the walk down pretty well. We got some ear pinning here. Okay, that's better. I could click that when she's made a change there with her ears forward. So I'm going to ask her to trot. So again, head up. She's inverted. Ears not great. I could have clicked there with her ears come forward, and then I did. Okay, good. So that wasn't too bad. And send her back off. She got back into the trot better that time. See, as soon as I ask her to go back out, she starts playing her. She hasn't quite understood where she gets the food. There we go. So I got a good moment where she was trotting forward. Send her back out. The sending is looking really nice. I really like that. I like that bend right there. Her ears look great. Not great now. Once I ask her to really go forward, she doesn't like that. She's trying to change direction. Let's ask her to go back the way I originally asked. So I'm just going to bring her around, do that inside turn. There we go. I'm not going to get after her and chase her and smack the ground and run in front of her and do all that. I'm just going to gently ask her to go back the way I had originally asked. That looks nice bend. See her little head toss. She's got her ears back. So once her ears go forward and she's trotting, I'm going to click and feed. Send her back out. She's getting pretty good at that. We just really got to work on that trot and then maintaining the direction there. She doesn't quite get that I wanted her to go to my right, not left. Just gonna gently ask her to go back out. That was better. She's still not great at going forward. I think she's a pretty laid back kind of horse, so you can definitely see the ear pinning and not wanting to go forward. Like I want to say like if she wanted to go into a can, if I wanted her to go into a canter right now, she'd probably kick out a little bit. She just seems like that kind of horse where she doesn't really want to move forward. But I've just got to kind of show her and reward her that going forward equals good things, and then she can overcome that. So again, not the best transition, but once she gets into that trot nicely, then she figured it out. And then send her back out. And she's very slow and lazy going forward. That's okay. I'm just gonna reward those moments where she moves out faster, and that would clear that up. Back into the trot. Again, clicked for her when she went forward with her ears forward as well. I'm just gonna get some more food. She's a little bit distracted in the grass here, and again, she hasn't quite figured out to turn to the right there. So we'll work on that. That was better. And I probably should have clicked that because she kind of almost went into the trot on her own without me asking. So I should be like, yes, you're thinking in the right direction. Your ears go up and I click. That's pretty good timing. Let her hang out here. I like how she goes to that relaxed body position as soon as she stands. She really comes back down really well. She seems pretty balanced, like mentally. Like she comes back and relaxes pretty quickly. So I definitely could have clicked that because she went out on the circle much faster and just she's more prompt. But the last couple times she just kind of slowly went over there. So definitely should reward that. Don't love the head shake here. So I'm just kind of putting pressure until she goes forward and puts her ears forward. There we go. I don't know if I should have clicked that. I'm not sure if I did and then just didn't feed. I'm not sure why I didn't feed, but there we go. So she got into the, oh, and then she got scared of something. Don't know what. It's kind of windy, so I'm not sure she saw something behind her or what the deal was. After I just said she was pretty laid back. But it is important to make sure, regardless of what you're using to train, that the horse is kind of respectful of your space and not gonna just run you over. They understand that your space is here and theirs is there, and they're not to come into it. So that is important regardless. Let's go back to doing what we were doing. And she'll probably work herself out of it. That was a decent trot. I could have clicked that. There, that was good. Her head was kind of cut off of out of the frame, but she went into the trot there nicely. And she's a little still spooked at whatever happened. It was probably something like maybe the tree branch cracked or she saw a shadow, something like that. It doesn't really matter. I just kind of look. If it's not a big deal, we just kind of move on. And we'll have her go the other way. That looks nice. She wanted to come in on her own. I probably should have rewarded her before that, before she made that inside turn. It looks like she's a little bit more willing to move forward on that left side, which is normal. They usually have a direction that they want to go easily in. So I'm off to the side here too, because I'm paying attention that she had spooked and went that way. So I want to make sure that I'm not in her line of fire. I'm not sure which way she wanted to go, but I'm far enough away from her that she has space that she can go forward if she needs to. So just kind of make sure you're in the right space here. Because something, I probably should have turned her so she's not, doesn't have her hind end facing that place that she got spooked. Just do a bit of desensitizing here so she's not afraid of my stick. She seems pretty content here. Just don't, I'm kind of pushing her face over here so she's not like looking at me thinking maybe she could spook into me if that happened again. And I don't want to really encourage her getting super close because I don't know her that well and she did spook earlier and she wants to be a little bit pushy, so but she looks more curious than anything here. So she doesn't seem super worried about my stick, which is good. So just reward her for standing still. Again, feeding her away from me, giving her an opportunity she can run away if she needs to. But you want to be mindful of the things they're afraid of because you don't want to end up kind of in the line of fire there. Like that. See, she was afraid. And she wasn't necessarily running over me. She was coming near me. So probably she didn't need quite that much pressure. I'm not sure what it is that she saw, but definitely having her go away from me is good. She didn't need to necessarily, I didn't need to use that much pressure, but just have her make sure she moved away and then just continue with the lesson is really all she needs because she didn't do anything horribly bad. So, but the her kind of trying to come into me, we want to get rid of that. So I'm putting a bit more pressure when she turns and comes toward me because she thinks she can just kind of run in and that's where she's going to get rewarded and that's just not going to happen. So she can come in nicely when I ask her. Yeah, this is better. So she did a little turn there, but she was nice and soft, and I just asked her gently to go back out. So that was better. Try and do an inside turn here. She's not really paying attention, but you once their feet stop, you can't really get an inside turn, so get the feet going. There, that was not bad. And then walk toward her hindquarters and push her the other way. Good. And she's giving me a bit more space just because I put a little bit more pressure on her, which is fine. She's drawing in nicely. Let's see if I can kind of arc around her and have her follow me. And I don't want her to get too close and get right up behind me. So I'm just trying to get her hindquarters over and she's blocking me there. There, that's what I want. I just want that step across. I'm trying to catch her eye and get in front of her. And she just wants to go the other way. So we haven't quite mastered the inside turn yet, and that's fine. This is her first time. I have her maneuvering decently, so that's okay. But I like to end with me. There we go. That's what I wanted. I just wanted that outside hind leg, that right hind leg to cross underneath, and then the same thing on this side. I'm just going to kind of put my stick up so she doesn't block me, and I want this left hind leg to cross over the other one right there. And that was kind of a baby step. She's a little distracted. There's some food on the ground. And right there. Well, step together, step behind. There we go. And when they step behind like that, you can kind of see where they are mentally. She was a little tense there. So but we just kind of end it with some hindquarter yields.